Greetings YouTube, JC Bad Edit Pro with a video about audio, and today we're going to talk about this turntable. It is my Pioneer PL-518 from around 1979. Before we get into it though, I thought it would be fun to see what they were saying about it in 1979.
We could tell you that Pioneer's PL-518 probably offers today's best value in a direct drive turntable. We could tell you its tone arm rides on 10 times the conventional number of ball bearings for smoother tracking, or that its direct drive motor all but eliminates wow and flutter. But nothing we tell you will be as convincing as this. Pioneer, we bring it back alive.
That was cool. Burgess Meredith can sell me a turntable anytime. Way back in the 80s, when I was in school, my father used to go to state sales and yard sales, and he'd always be scoping out audio equipment for me. One time he brought one of these home. He bought it for about $10 at the time, and I got a cartridge for it and put it on, and this was my main turntable for a long, long time. Now, when you think back nostalgically about a piece of equipment that you used to own, sometimes you can add to its performance in your mind, and then years later when you actually run into one, you find out, it wasn't that great. This is not the case. This turntable, which I got off of eBay for a ridiculously low price, is actually way beyond what I remember it being. And that is because it is so well made and so well built. And even though it is 32 years old, the machine is still operating in tip-top form. So let's get down and take a look at the controls. And as we go along, I'm going to tell you some interesting things about the Pioneer PL-518. There's a lot of videos up on YouTube about this particular turntable, but I haven't seen anybody actually go through it and explain some of the quirks and interesting things about it. So let's do that. First of all, it is real easy to figure out how to work this turntable because all of the controls are right here. Okay? This button is your speed control. When it's up, it's 33. When it's down, it's 45. This is your speed adjustment, and you have a strobe that allows you to zero in the speed. Pioneer was very conscious of accuracy when they made this turntable. This knob is a full-turn knob that goes either way, but it only covers a 4% range, 2% plus or minus. So you can zero in the speed on this turntable very precisely. Here you have the Q lever. It's right there. Here is the anti-skate control. Back here you have the tone arm, counterweight here, and this is the bearing across here. There's a lateral weight that's right there. That's fixed. You can't change that. I think that works with the anti-skate mechanism. And that is basically it as far as the controls are concerned. Now, the turntable did not come with a 45 adapter when I got it, so I have provided my own. I've got a ton of these laying around, since this is about the 5th turntable that I've been through in the last year or so. So this is the one that I'm using with it. And one of the big selling points for this particular turntable for me was the fact that you got the original Pioneer head shell with it. So anyway, now that we've covered all those bases, let's talk about the construction of this turntable. It is built like a tank. First of all, here's the mat that comes with it. The mat is a full 1/4 inch thick. It has these special grooves in it that are designed to absorb vibrations, and it does a great job at that. Now here's the platter. This is a direct drive turntable. So let me see if I can get this off with one hand. Probably will not be able to do that, so hold on just a second, and I will take it off and we'll show you what's under it. Now with the platter off the turntable, you'll see that it has this wonderful shield right here. This makes it so that this turntable does not induce any hum at all into a moving magnet cartridge. And all of the motor assembly is under here. It's all very well sealed, permanently lubricated as well, so you don't have to worry about that. And after 32 years, this machine runs perfectly. There is a couple of peculiarities about these turntables. First of all, let me show you the top here. This is one of the reasons I got it cheaply, was because this top is kind of scarred up. A lot of these look like this. You can get a replacement top, so I have been told, for $98. There's a guy who actually makes them. Also, I've been told that you can buff this out and get it looking close to new. So if anybody has any specifics about that, please put it in the comments, because this would be a turntable that would be worth the effort. Don't know whether I'm going to spend $98 for a top. That's for sure. Okay, so here's what I wanted to show you about these particular turntables in case you run into one. Make sure the tone arm is secure, and it is. So I'm going to lean it back here. I have never seen one of these anywhere that didn't have the feet missing, and this is no exception. As you can see, there are screws and there are rubber collars there. The feet used to attach to that, and the feet, of course, were taller than this bottom part right here, you see, and it would suspend the plinth here, which is this big particle board. This is solid right here. This is solid particle board. That's how this is designed, and then the turntable is sort of hanging off of this. Now, it'll run just fine sitting on its belly. I've been told that you can use vibropods, which is a product for turntables that you can put under here, and then you can suspend it. Or if you're really adventurous, you could build a wooden base for this. I really think Pioneer originally thought that maybe folks might want to mount this down into a counter of some sort, because of the way it's designed. So you could do that too. Of course, my solution is just to put it on a piece of foam. And this works really, really well because the turntable itself, I'm going to get a thicker piece. This is just what I had on hand. The turntable itself is very well shielded on the inside from vibration. So we're going to take a look at it in operation now. Using this turntable is just about as easy as it gets. All you have to do is to lift the Q lever, as I have already done. Position the tone arm over top of the record. There is a micro switch that will turn on the tone arm, or rather the motor here. It's activated by the tone arm, and then you drop the needle on the record. And I have chosen a record that will not get me in trouble with YouTube's ID content.
Do your youngsters ever ask you, what did you do before television was invented? Now, sometimes it's hard to answer that.
We sat around and listened to records. Anyhow, this is another feature that's very interesting about this machine I want to show you, is that it has an auto return, which is very common on consumer-grade home-type turntables. But the way that Pioneer actually implements it is very interesting. So you can see we'll set the needle down, and it picks right up. The way this does this is what's interesting, because I was reading the service manual last night, and it shuts itself down. Instead of having a micro switch that detects the position of the tone arm where it's a solid position, like if it gets here it's going to pick it up, this turntable actually detects velocity of the tone arm as it gets toward the center of the record. So as you see here where the cut of the record ends, and then there's the run-out groove, when the tone arm takes off to go toward the run-out here, then it detects that change in velocity, and that's what makes it lift and put the tone arm back down. And it doesn't do it immediately. It actually waits a second. The way the mechanism is designed, that allows the stylus to get into the circular run-out groove on the record, and so when it lifts, it's lifting straight up. The tone arm is not in motion, and that's very good for the stylus. So that was one feature that was very ingenious on Pioneer's part. Right now the turntable has a Audio Technica cartridge on it. I put my very much loved AT120E, which works beautifully with this machine. When I first tested it out, I put on this cheaper Audio-Technica cartridge. This is a CN5625AL. The performance, even with this lower-end cartridge, was amazing, and so I immediately said I want to go ahead and wire up my good AT120E into this head shell. Now, that turned out to be a bit of an experience in and of itself. When I got the turntable, it looked like it had the original cartridge from 1979. It was an Audio-Technica AT3500ED, and it was so old that the white plastic of the cartridge body had yellowed, and so I took it off and threw all the hardware away, and unfortunately the lead wires in the head shell were bad too. So what I ended up doing, actually me and my wife did this together, was completely rewire this head shell with new leads, so it's got brand new leads on it, and the contacts are clean, and it looks very, very nice indeed with the Audio-Technica AT120E cartridge in it. And for right now, I'm just totally blown away by the performance of this turntable. If you find one of these, it may need some TLC. You may need to improvise a solution for some feet. But you're not going to end up with a situation where you're going to have a bad turntable as long as everything is in good working order and you give it a little bit of TLC. So there you go. It's my video about the Pioneer PL-518, which is from 1979, and I'm very tickled pink that I found one, and I will address the issues with the top. Very high-end turntable, and it is still praised on many of the audio forums that I saw it come up in when I was doing some research looking for some documentation on it last night. Still people say how wonderful this particular machine is, and tickled to have one. Thanks for watching the video. JC, Bad Edit Pro, waving bye-bye.